Life doesn't demand that we be the best. It only asks that we give it everything we've got. H. Jackson Brown, Jr. We often feel we must become the best, surpass everyone, and prove our worth through endless comparisons and rivalries. Yet that is a harsh standard that constantly distorts the true meaning of life. In reality, life doesn't ask you to conquer the highest peaks of glory. It quietly hopes you will show up fully in every step with all your ability and sincere effort. That quiet effort, though it may not be loud, is the most enduring energy a person can awaken. When you get caught in the whirlwind of having to be the best, you unknowingly hand your self-worth over to external measures where there will always be someone better, faster, stronger. That leads to an endless cycle of dissatisfaction. But when you shift your focus to giving it your all, you return to a deep inner sense of control. At that moment, you stop competing with the outside world and begin a quiet conversation with yourself through a simple yet powerful question. Today, did I go further than yesterday? Imagine a mountain climber. If he only stares at the summit, every step becomes heavy and filled with pressure. But if he focuses on each steady footfall, each deep breath, each meter conquered, the journey turns into a vivid, alive experience. The summit is no longer a burden, it becomes the natural reward of unwavering persistence. Giving your all does not mean being perfect, it means being purely honest with your own potential in each specific moment. There are days when you're full of strength and days when you're utterly exhausted, but if you still choose to move forward with whatever you have, you are living true to the deepest nature of growth. And right in that journey, something miraculous happens quietly. You may not become the best, but you will become the brightest version of yourself. Life is not a contest to decide winners and losers. It is a journey of discovering and unlocking infinite potential. When you pour your whole heart into every moment, you realize that true value lies not in where you stand, but in how you walked there, consciously and completely. No one who has ever given their all has ever regretted it. George Halas. Giving your all never leaves regret, no matter the final outcome. Because regret is not born from failure, but from the gnawing thought, I could have done more. When a person knows they have reached the very limit of their ability, that they have tried, fallen, and risen again with all their might, then the result, even if imperfect, still carries an indescribable inner completeness. Regret is usually the product of invisible gaps, the things we didn't do, the chances we let slip, the times we chose safety over courage. It echoes quietly in the mind, reminding us that we didn't truly live fully in that moment. But when you have pushed to the absolute limit, there are no gaps left for self-doubt, no what-ifs left to torment you. Instead, there is a deep, quiet peace, not because everything turned out perfect, but because you were utterly honest with yourself. Picture someone sprinting all out toward the finish line. They might finish first, or they might finish behind others. But if every step was given with full power and every breath carried burning determination, then when they stop, they won't hang their head in defeat, they'll hold it high because they left nothing behind. On the other hand, someone who never ran with everything they had, even if they win, still carries a vague doubt, could I have done better? Giving your all doesn't guarantee dazzling success, but it guarantees something far deeper, the undying wholeness of your true self. You don't just do the work, you put your entire being into it. And that creates a kind of value. No outcome can measure the value of having lived up to your highest potential in every single moment. When we look back on the journey, people don't ache over the times they tried and fell short, they ache over the times they didn't dare to try. Someone who dares to live fully, win or lose, always walks out of life with a light heart, unburdened, without regrets, carrying only one profound feeling: I truly lived. The happy person is the one who can make a living from their passion. George Bernard Shaw. There is a quiet but powerful truth in human life. The happiest people are not those who own the most, but those who can live by the very thing that makes their hearts come alive. When a passion once just a small spark in spare moments is nurtured into a way of life, it stops being mere entertainment and becomes a meaningful current flowing through every day. That's when work is no longer a duty to endure, but a radiant extension of your true self. where every action carries pure, original joy. Most people live with a painful split. By day, they work to survive. By night, they turn to their passion to feel truly alive. That division feels like a soul stretched between two opposite shores, one of responsibility, one of burning desire. But when someone can earn their living from their passion, those two shores merge into one, and they walk across a solid bridge called meaning. A painter who paints not because they're forced to, but because every brushstroke is the beat of their heart. Or a writer whose words flow like natural breath. For them, time is no longer a harsh supervisor, but a gentle, warm companion. They don't spend energy on work, they are recharged by it, as if it gives them new life every single day. That doesn't mean the path is easy. On the contrary, it demands unwavering persistence and the courage to turn something fragile into something brilliantly real. But the reward is a profound kind of happiness, not loud, not showy, but steady, like sunlight filtering through every leaf. It's the feeling of waking up each morning and not running away from life, but stepping straight into it with a peaceful smile full of hope. To live a full experience, a specific destiny, is to accept it completely. Albert Camus. We only truly live a full experience, a specific destiny, when we stop resisting it. Acceptance is not surrender, it is a deep awakening, where we look straight at reality without twisting or avoiding it. As long as we resist, the mind is like a door caught between two winds. The past pulling us back with regret, the future pushing us forward with anxiety. But when we accept, that door swings wide open, and the flow of life moves freely and naturally. Refusing our destiny often comes from the illusion of control, the belief that we can arrange everything exactly as we wish. But life is not a detailed blueprint. It is more like a river, with calm stretches and roaring rapids. The wise person doesn't try to stop the current, they learn to swim with it gracefully. When we accept our circumstances, we are not overwhelmed by them. We become part of their movement, flexible, adaptable, and truly free. A performer on stage, if he rejects his role, he will be awkward and stiff, losing all vitality. But when he fully embodies it, whether the role is tragedy or comedy, he shines brightly because he has become that character. Life is the same. Living fully doesn't mean choosing a perfect destiny. It means daring to step into your own destiny with your entire awareness and intense emotion. No longer trapped by circumstances, but finding freedom right inside them. It is the state where pain is no longer an enemy, but precious material, where every experience, sweet or bitter, helps weave a life of profound depth. And then we don't just exist in our destiny, we truly live it, completely and radiantly. The more you praise and celebrate your life, the more there is in life to celebrate. Oprah Winfrey. Life is not only what happens to us, it is also how we see and name it. When you praise and cherish your life, you are not simply reflecting reality, you are miraculously reshaping it. The human mind is like a delicate lens. Point it toward the light, and even ordinary things begin to sparkle and shimmer. Fix it on the darkness, and even a day full of possibilities can turn gloomy. Gratitude activates a wonderful, positive perception filter. When you feel thankful for what you have, your brain starts looking for more evidence to support that feeling. Like planting a seed, the more you water it with recognition and appreciation, the more it grows into a garden full of meaning and color. On the other hand, constant complaining creates a self-reinforcing loop. The more you grumble, the more you notice things to grumble about. Two people walk through the same rain. One sees only a gray sky and wet clothes, while the other feels the refreshing coolness and gentle rhythm of every drop. The rain doesn't change, only the way they experience it does. Life works the same way. Things don't have to become perfect before we appreciate them. It is appreciation itself that makes everything more valuable and radiant. Learn to celebrate your life, even the small things, like a peaceful morning, a simple meal, or a deep breath, and you expand the space for happiness inside you. And then something almost magical happens. Life begins to answer you, not because it is completely changed, but because you have become someone who can see the value in what you already have. At that point, Happiness is no longer a distant destination. It becomes a present state, always available in every breath of life. The only disability in life is a bad attitude. Scott Hamilton. The greatest disability in life is not in the body, circumstances, or starting point. It lies in the attitude we carry every day. A negative mind is like thick fog blanketing perception. It doesn't change the world, but it tragically distorts how we see the world. When attitude turns sour, every opportunity is read as a risk. Every challenge is magnified into failure, and we build an invisible prison with no bars. Attitude is not just a momentary reaction. It is a hidden belief system that shapes our entire life experience. It works like a sophisticated reality filter. If you believe life is against you, you will keep finding proof. If you believe every setback holds the seed of growth, you will start seeing paths even in the darkest dead ends. The beautiful thing is that attitude is not fixed. It can be trained, adjusted, and rebuilt like a powerful mental muscle. Two people suffer the same wound. One sees it as the end, the other as the beginning of brilliant growth. The wound is the same, but the meaning they give, it creates two completely different destinies. It is exactly at the meeting point between the event and its interpretation that attitude steps in and decides the direction of life. It doesn't deny real difficulties, but it highlights a profound power every person possesses, the right to choose how to respond. When attitude changes, the outside world may not instantly improve, but your inner self becomes steadier, more flexible, and less swept away by circumstances. And from that foundation, you don't just survive adversity, you redefine it with resilience. Attitude is not just part of life, it is the very shape of life. A right attitude won't make you perfect, but it will keep you from being knocked down. And in a world that is always changing, that is the most valuable form of wholeness a person can achieve. You will never do anything in this world without courage. It is the most noble quality of the mind, second only to honor. Aristotle. Intelligence without courage is like a light trapped inside a glass cage. You may understand clearly, analyze deeply, and see far ahead, but without the bravery to act, it all remains unrealized potential. Courage is the moment intelligence steps out of the safe zone of thought and touches a reality full of uncertainty and challenge. Fear is not the enemy, it is the gatekeeper. But it is courage that decides whether you walk through that gate or not. People lacking courage often live in the state of knowing but not doing, and over time that delay erodes their self-trust. On the other hand, when someone dares to act even without certainty, they send a powerful message to themselves: I can face life. And that very message reshapes their entire inner identity. Intelligence is a detailed map, while courage is a pair of steady legs. A perfect map that is never used to walk is nothing more than beautiful decoration. But when those legs start moving even slowly, even shakily, the real path begins to form. And the miracle is that in the very process of walking, intelligence itself becomes more alive and sharper because it is tested and refined by harsh reality. But courage is not blind recklessness. It stands right next to honor because true courage is not just daring to act, but daring to do what is right. Honor is the moral compass, and courage is the force that propels you along the direction the compass points, even when the path is full of thorns. Honor and courage do not merely exist, they become a living force capable of shaping the world around us. And then success is no longer random, it becomes the natural result of an inner self strong enough to think right, choose right, and above all, dare to see it through. Don't let the past or the present control you. They are simply processes that help you move to the next level. T.D. Jakes. We think we are living, but in truth we are being controlled by what has already passed or what is happening now. The past becomes a long shadow, and the present, if we are not awake, turns into an invisible cage. But the deeper truth is this: both are merely stages in the journey of growth, not permanent stopping points. They exist not to imprison you, but to sharpen you into a stronger version of yourself. When you let the past control you, You hand power to memories that are already dead to keep shaping how you live. When you are ruled by the present, you easily fall into instinctive reactions, living according to circumstances instead of leading them. But when you see both past and present as a process, you begin shifting from passive to active. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this preparing me for next? Life is like a game with many levels. Every challenge, every failure, every moment of being stuck is a stage designed to upgrade your abilities. If you stop to complain about the previous stage, you will never move on to the next. But if you accept that every experience is part of the process, you begin to accumulate inner capability, something no one can take away. It is not about erasing the past or completely controlling the present, but about changing your position toward them. You are no longer a victim of time, you become a student learning from it. And when that awareness runs deep enough, a new door opens. You begin to live not to be pulled by what has happened, but to move toward what you can become. The past is no longer a burden. The present is no longer pressure. Both become powerful launching pads. And you, instead of being controlled, begin to walk with a steady inner freedom. The freedom to move forward, the freedom to transform, and the freedom to lift yourself to a higher, more radiant level of life. In life, you will meet two kinds of people: those who help you grow and those who pull you down. But in the end, you will thank both. On the journey of life, we don't just meet people, we collide with living mirrors that reflect ourselves vividly. Some people enter our lives like morning light, lifting us up, opening us, helping us grow naturally, like a tree reaching toward the sun. But others appear like sudden storms, shaking us, wounding us, even making us feel like we're falling apart. On the surface, they seem opposite, but at the deeper level of psychological experience, both serve as miraculous agents of transformation. Those who help you grow usually bring a sense of safety and being seen. They are like skillful gardeners who know exactly when to water so the potential inside you can bloom brilliantly. But the ones who pull you down are the necessary friction to see. They force you to face your limits, your fears, and the weak parts you once avoided. Without friction, without grinding, a stone will never become a sparkling jewel. The first human reaction to pain is resistance and blame. We easily label those who hurt us as negative. But with time and greater awareness, we begin to look back and see that those very cracks let the light in. Difficult experiences force us to rebuild ourselves stronger, deeper, and more conscious of our own value. It is a forging process. High heat and heavy pressure are not meant to destroy the metal, but to make it tougher. Those who help you grow are the right amount of heat. Those who pull you down are the extreme pressure. In their different ways, both contribute to the resilient inner strength you now possess. At some point, when you look back over the whole journey, your feelings are no longer resentment or regret, but a quiet, deep gratitude. Because you realize, without either kind of person, you would not have become who you are today. And that very realization, without fanfare or drama, is the clearest sign of a soul that has truly grown up. If we don't change, we don't grow. If we don't grow, we are not really living. Gail Sheehy. People often crave stability, yet prolonged stability quietly erodes the life force inside us. If we don't change, we don't just stand still, we slowly freeze inside an outdated version of ourselves. And when we don't grow, life becomes nothing more than the mechanical repetition of identical days, where we exist more as a habit than as a truly living being. Change is the process of breaking the familiar structures of the self. This creates unease, because the brain always seeks safety in what it already knows. Yet that very unease is the sign of vibrant movement. A seed, if it wants to become a tree, must accept the cracking of its protective shell. If it tries to stay the same, it will never die, but it will also never truly live. It is not simply the accumulation of time, but the accumulation of daring to step out of the familiar zone. Every time you change, whether a thought, a habit, or a perspective, you expand the range of your existence. You begin to see the world from more angles, understand people more deeply, and most importantly, understand yourself more clearly than ever before. A river. When it flows, it is clear and alive. When it stops, it becomes stagnant. Humans are the same. Life is not measured by how many years we have, but by how much we dare to move, to transform, to be reborn through every stage. Change is not a threat, it is proof of life. Growth is not a burden, it is the sign that you are evolving. And when you keep changing in order to grow, you are not merely existing through the days you are truly living, fully, deeply, and with profound meaning.